Welcome everybody to our events meeting. First item on the agenda is apologies. Our apologies from Councillor Rickaby due to medical reasons. Okay, are we happy to accept those apologies?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, thank you. Declarations of interest. If there's anything on the agenda that you have a non-pecuniary or pecuniary interest in.
Myself.
Yep. Okay. And which item is that? Is that the
Remembrance.
remembrance? So it's item 33. Sorry. John, do you need to as well?
Yes, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking that. I apologise for
That's okay.
it. Thank you.
Minutes of the previous meeting. Has everybody seen them?
Mm-hmm.
Are we happy that they are a true record?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pardon me.
You can do, yeah. Okay. Right. Item 30. Debrief on the car show. Obviously, for those of you that were there, it was a great success.
Yeah.
Lots of positive stuff coming back from the public and from the people that were exhibiting, businesses that came down. The only thing that most of them are saying is that they would like it bigger next year.
And I think on the show of it, it shows that it can support it.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, you can't use it exactly because obviously it was the end of lockdown and the weather was so fabulous and everything. It was like the perfect storm, wasn't it?
Yes.
But I think it can't not go ahead next year, can it?
I'm more than happy with doing it again next year. I think we need to. I don't know whether anybody else has got any other feedback that they've heard that they want to put into this.
More variety in food and a different or an additional drink vendor,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
which I think is fair.
Yeah.
But that wasn't negative. It was just people saying for next year, so they obviously want it to happen again next year.
Yeah,
just
because it's so busy.
because it was so good, yes, and busy. So I think it was an excellent event.
Okay.
I did pick up on one or two health and safety risks. There was one vendor there that had electric wires going across the grass and they weren't protected by rubber matting. That was the fellow with the trampoline.
Trampoline.
He had his generator behind his van.
Okay. Right.
And the wires went across to the trampolines,
Right.
but there was no rubber matting covering them,
Okay.
electrical supply.
Right.
And also there was cars going off-site and coming on-site after,
Yes, I know. Yeah.
which
Which you should not have been doing that.
No.
You shouldn't have been doing, but
But we
Yeah,
did
so
have
it's
stewards
just,
managing
you know,
it.
and,
Fantastic.
when we had the first aid and lost children store, there should have been somebody on there at all times.
I don't think that's an absolute necessity, but that,
As part of the risk assessment, it was that any lost child, because they were all wearing HPC vests, that was the idea, and then the contact list was to go directly to Sam because Sam is DBS checked, so you couldn't have had Sam at that station for the whole time.
I think it worked the way it did. There was enough visibility.
If Sam went
wasn't
off,
there?
somebody else should have been there.
Yeah, but then unfortunately, because Sam was the only one DBS checked, he would be the only one who could deal with that. And because the parks manager is the only one with first aid training, he would be the only one who could deal with that. So you can't have them both sat there for the whole time.
No, I'm not saying
And we
that.
didn't have an
There should-
alternative.
There should have been somebody there who would then have been able to contact.
So you can't, because if this child comes to you and you're not DBS checked, it opens another can of worms.
Well, maybe as a council, we should go down the lines of doing safety awareness training for adults and for children. And you can do the courses free.
Wouldn't have with your DBS check though.
So, but at least that way you've done the course for awareness, safety awareness.
that's something we can look into, definitely.
Yep.
The main issue we had on the day is that there's only, we have 15 stewards, didn't we? So those stewards had to be going around
Yeah,
and checking
yeah,
on
I can
everything. So
appreciate that,
having 2 people or 1 person at that point all day was never going to be a viable option. Take it on board, absolutely, and with a bigger event, then we would need to potentially have somebody
Yeah.
stationed there because, you know, just
Why
to
I'm
keep
saying
things-
that is because if I was a visitor and I'd lost my child or I'd had an accident and found that you've got a place there that's supposed to be for lost children or for first aid and it's unmanned,
Mm.
it doesn't look very professional.
Take it on board.
Maybe at a bigger event you get St John's ambulance
Yeah, that's-
involved and then you
Yeah,
negate
that's-
all
then
of
it'll be
this,
manned
won't it?
anyway.
Yeah, because St John's will be there. So
Yeah.
I think it's a fair point, but the situation was a bit difficult, wasn't it? With the
Yeah. I know we've done it sort of in the short term, but it was just one for
Yeah.
going forward.
Okay, so based on that, I would like to propose that we do look into doing it next year. I have already started looking at an alternative site because obviously we can't grow it
No.
on that site. Until I've got feedback from that, I don't know whether there's a possibility, but I'll put it back on the agenda once I know that we've got an alternative site and then we can decide what we're going to do with it.
Just as a matter of interest, did you have many that you turned down cars?
Loads.
You did.
Mhm.
So you so you'd be able to do
I could
100.
double it easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
Well, then that shows, doesn't it?
And we had a lot of people who were from car clubs who would have spread the word if
Yeah.
we had the space.
Yeah.
And then
So-
there was a suggestion about including motorbikes
Yes.
as well,
Mhm.
which I think is quite, because I don't know if it's the George Farms Holbeach Universe, I can't remember what it's called nowadays, site that you're looking at, but there were suggestions of how you could do it on that site
Yeah.
with the hard standing and the grass.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest place in the area, isn't it, really, that's accessible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with the mixture of people and the event should naturally grow, shouldn't it? It should be.
Yeah.
Should be quite easy, and as long as you've had the interest from the cars, then that shows that we've got
Definitely,
somewhere
yeah.
to move with anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I was going to say, would you look at where Holbeach had their country fair?
No,
Kingsfield.
it needs to be.
It needs to be in the
town.
centre of Holbeach.
That's everybody that was responding to our initial inquiries as to what events they were looking for. They were looking for events in
Yeah.
town so that they could walk to it and it will be something that would make the town more vibrant.
Yeah.
Being off outside of town, it's not going to work. And as well, you wouldn't be able to do motorbikes down at Kingsfield really because it's just not a suitable site.
You won't get half those cars down there.
No, you wouldn't.
The Lord's car, they'll go
No.
down there and be
Exactly,
first bomb
it
bit
would
of
not work.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, to be honest, where we had it was the best place for it. It's just a shame that we can't grow it from there because it had everything that we needed, and most of it was airspace as well, wasn't it? Or council space. So it is a prime location for us to do any future event, really.
yeah.
And one thing that I did like the feedback is the people who didn't realise the beauty of Carter's Park. And I thought that was really nice that people had, and watching just the play equipment being used by, I mean, that was the busiest I've ever seen it, the amount of kids using it. So, yeah, it's a shame we can't continue to use that, but it just isn't big enough.
No. Okay, so if we move on to the next item, item 33, to discuss and agree to recommend to full council ideas for next year's Jubilee celebrations. Obviously this is our main event that we are going to be looking at next year. Is a big event. We have got to pre-plan to the nth degree in the hope that it is going to go ahead as planned. I mean, nobody ever knows because you can't be certain, but we've got to be ready to do that. It is obviously the beginning of June for that long weekend, so there is an extended bank holiday. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th of June is the weekend. Having looked at the running order for the main events nationally, you really are looking at potentially doing something on the Saturday, I would suggest, because the Sunday is the street parties that they're encouraging everybody to do. which we could do that ourselves and encourage everybody by probably giving them a pack or whatever to encourage people to do that. The other days, I think you would probably struggle to get loads of people to come to an event on the Thursday. That would probably not be a sensible day to do, and a Friday is also a little bit of an odd day to come to the event, and if they're watching a load of the celebrations on TV, they're not necessarily wanting to come out. So it may be the Saturday that we need to plump for as the main event. Ideally, I'd like to look at shutting the High Street and doing it in High Street.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I can remember Coronation Day where everybody flew Union Jacks, and you don't get it now, but there was sort of like crepe, rolls of crepe paper, and they put it all in the windows with the Royal Standard on it. And then also sort of like the red, white and blue bunchings everywhere.
Because obviously the idea that I had was most places are going to do kind of vintage thing because that's what you do for that. But what could be quite nice to kind of tailor it towards our area, which we've already kind of been looking into, is could we do more of a traditional agricultural theme? So link it to traditional festivals we would have had in the area. We did, because there was the tractor run that was going through town, and we thought that could be something to look into, to link into the event. And they would be interested in joining in, depending on how we decide to do it. You've got options to kind of add in, so it's a bit like it could be a street party, but also a bit like a traditional farmers market, kind of trying to celebrate our heritage as well as the Jubilee celebrations. So then moving forward, if it goes really well, that could be our traditional summer fete for the area.
And if you had tractors and forms of transport decorated up in red, white and blue, including the drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had kids on the back, I mean, lorry and trailers, didn't we, throwing sweets? You remember that?
You could do, yes, I mean, the risk assessment would be horrendous.
People, shopkeepers.
Yeah, I
No, we
think,
did.
yeah,
We did.
I think it needs to be more of it's got to be a family event.
Yeah.
It's got to be something that goes on from middle of the morning right through into the middle of the evening and beyond, potentially. So you've got to have a lot of things going on. So you would have things going on during the daytime that would work for families, but then into the evening you could have your music and places where
Street
people
food
could
and
sit
stuff
and
like
eat
that.
and
Would
bits and
you
pieces.
go down the lines of a firework display for the end of the evening?
No. Because where are you going to do it? This is the problem. We haven't got a big enough space to do that. And having looked at the potential of doing fireworks previously, it's not something that
You have to have someone
has
qualified to do it.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
And also for a big display, you're looking at about 10 grand.
Yeah,
so.
you're looking at a huge amount of money. There will be the beacon that will be lit. I think that's on the Thursday, is that? I think the beacons will be lit on the Thursday. So we'll have to schedule that in.
Oops. No. Comes up minuscule, doesn't it? 5th of June. Oh no, that's not the day of. Gosh, it's not
That's the
clear, is
Sunday.
it?
I did look at that. I'm sure when I looked at it, I'm sure that on the Thursday is the beacons. On the Friday there was like a they're going to some things.
Saturday it was basically street parties.
No, Sundays are street parties.
Sunday would be the at-home street parties where the traditional ones. So
I
Saturday's
wonder
kind of
whether they were
a
doing
free.
something down the Mall like they did before.
Probably, yeah.
I think they are doing a concert and things. I
Yeah.
think we need to really look at the idea of which day we're going to go for, based on what their timetable is, and also what's going to work for us. To do anything on the Sunday, you then got all the clear up before Monday, which is going to be really difficult. I do want to, we need to budget for loads and loads of bunting, and it is going to be scarce, I suspect. So the sooner we can start sourcing said bunting, the better. Because we need to decorate the whole of that high street.
I think it'd be good to get the schools involved fairly quickly as well.
Yeah,
before they start their own events, if we can incorporate them into ours.
I've got a contact that I'm just waiting for them to come back to me. I have mooted the idea.
Yeah.
And again, we need to have lots of people on board, lots of different groups that are prepared to come and help and do and get involved in different items.
I think that if we could do a bit of a statement publicly, either in the press or something, to announce that we are going to be coordinating an event, because obviously a lot of other people are going to have similar ideas. It would be best if they can all kind of merge into one rather than
Well,
have
yeah,
those
with what we'll assume the
competing
church will do as well, won't they? They'll have something going on.
Don't know.
It's unlikely they'd miss such an event.
They'll have a service, I would imagine. So again, we really need to, like Sophie says, get a press statement out there saying that we are going to be coordinating the Jubilee celebrations. So any group that is planning to do any form of event, if they can feed through,
and incorporate
so that we can put together a package of what's going on for the
I
whole
think
week.
actually the church might do the service on Thursday, so that's Maunday Thursday.
Is it?
Are you thinking that's... Oh, sorry, I thought you
It's all right, no, carry on.
Are you thinking about like the old Christmas fair?
Yes,
Sort
shut
of,
off the whole
and then that
street,
access
yeah.
behind
Yes.
where the shops can come out.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
So encouraging the shops to get involved.
Yeah.
So like for the food aspect, all of the takeaways and the food outlets within the town, we'd encourage them to obviously be open so that in the evenings, if we provide lots of seating for people and tables and chairs, they can actually just go and collect the food, come and sit somewhere and gather as a community rather than going off and
you're right.
doing things separately. So that would be the, sort of the culmination of the day.
Just thinking about what Evelyn said about the church doing a service, if we, not necessarily coordinating it so it's all involved on the same day, but if we know what different groups are going to be doing throughout this celebration, we could put together a bit of a kind of timetable for Holbeach. Say what's going to
Instead
be
of
going
having
on.
one day, you spread it.
Spread it.
But we gather all the information together and then send it out then.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the food outlets, if people are going to buy the food and then take it away, you're going to end up with additional rubbish. So
Oh yes,
that's going to be
Part
another
of the job, isn't it?
clear-up issue,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the other item that has been raised, which is a little contentious, is the idea that used to happen many moons ago of a wheelbarrow race.
Oh,
Yes.
Now, I think it's got potential if it were done in a
Ordinary fashion.
family-friendly way, in that it would have to be tightly organised, and it would not just be about drinking and pushing your wheelbarrow. It would have to be more about, having a bit of fun along the way. Maybe dressing up as you go around, so you've got to get something somewhere, dressing up rather than just having a drink. So I think it's got legs to look into. And it is something that we have traditionally done in Holbeach many moons ago.
So long time.
Did Mr. Leckley have something to do with that?
Loads of people had things to do with it. And you would get different groups, so like the fire service would have a team, the schools would probably put in a team or whatever. So it would be, it is a community event. How you would incorporate it, it needs a lot of work. But it is something that people have asked about.
I think the issue is people have this iconic view of what it was, and health and safety and all the things that have changed over the last 30 years, because I think the last one was like early 90s we did it here. It's just a different
Yeah.
role now.
I mean, there are different communities who still do wheelbarrow, like exactly how it used to be done. So it can be done, but again, it's just thinking about, especially with how long the race would be, where it would go, you know, the route and the health and safety of that is kind of the most important bit.
There's logistics to it, but I think if people are asking for it, then it's got to be looked into it properly, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It can't be too difficult to organise, I wouldn't have thought.
Now, the other thing is going back to when you had the other jubilees. At one time, the children at school used to be given a jubilee crown. But unfortunately, I've not seen any being advertised yet. But it was, they used to give them the children's crown, or they used to give you a jubilee mug. Well, I think.
We have got many a jubilee mug in the States, actually.
We got many.
Yeah.
I've still got my children's crowns.
Yeah.
And my children were very fortunate. We lived in Kent, but because of the work that I did, they got invited to the biggest picnic ever held, and that was Hyde Park. And you had children from all over the country, out to Hebrides Island, Channel Islands. They all had free travel to Hyde Park. And one of the things that my children remembers is the longest sausage in the world. It was cooked by the army and it was half a mile long. But they had steel bands, they had dressing up from different nationalities. There was so much for them to do, but that went over a 3-day period. But
I think from the point of view of giving the children something, it is something we need to look at within our budgeting.
Yeah.
But we do need to liaise with the schools as to what is a sensible thing to give them as a memento. Because quite frankly, the mugs, we've got loads of them left over from last time. And you had one, didn't you? And it's just shoved in the cupboard. It's not, I mean, it is a traditional thing that people would have had years and years ago. But the children of today are not impressed by a mug.
No, they will if it's good.
Yeah.
That's what, do you think, because we've become such a multicultural society now, that we bring something in for everybody that doesn't understand what the Jubilee is really about? So try and incorporate everybody into it, not just people that know about it.
Yes, absolutely, it's important, and that's another thing. If we can put something out on social media or in the press or whatever, if we can get people from the different elements of the community, whether that's through engagement with the schools or whatever, you will start to bring all that together. But we do need that input from other places, because if not, we'll get it badly wrong.
Yeah.
So we do need to have other people coming in and feeding into this. I think, yes, it's a general discussion today, but actually moving forward, we're going to have a separate meeting that is just all about Jubilee.
I was going to say, because it makes you wonder how many couples we've got in Hull Beach area that got married.
Yeah.
How many babies were born between February and the actual ascension to the throne and the coronation.
There's all sorts of things we could look at. I mean, we've said about archives from here. We've got loads, so we could do a display and bits and pieces, things of interest. But we've got to try and give something for everybody, because some people, you know, they're not pro-monarchy in any way, shape or form, but they just enjoy a good day out. So you've got to think about how different people are going to react to it.
I think the difficulty we're going to have is because we're trying to be more modern and listening to the younger people, and like what we've always done, which is stick on the easy events that aren't catered to everybody. It's going to be that cohesion between what older people like and what the younger people want, and we cannot dismiss one over the other. So looking at a tractor might be interesting for some, but it wouldn't float my boat. I've lived around here all my life, I know what tractors look like. I don't need to see a tractor go down the street. So what I'm thinking is yes, you can have that because it's traditional and everything else, but then there has to be something working alongside that other people are interested in as well, and that's where you're juggling, because obviously there is only so much money. that's always what it comes down to. We all know that that's money. But we have got a large area, so Cars Park can be full of things that like we did with the car thing,
Yes.
if people fund it themselves. So just leave that running when the tractors are running down, and then I don't have to watch the tractors go down the street. I can go and jump on a bouncy castle.
If you're doing music, you could have several different, like you could have different music
In
for
different areas.
That's a
for
nice
different-
idea. That's a really,
Yeah.
and this is where this
People.
cohesion's going to be,
Yeah.
I think, so that you
Yeah.
can have, you could even call it modern,
Mm.
traditional, and then you've got, so in Cars Park, you could have your modern music, and then you could have your tea party music in the
Yeah.
churchyard, and that nice
Yeah.
idea of pick and choose.
So could we, in general, just agree at this point, if we look at the dates and the schedule that nationally that's
Mhm.
happening, and then propose at our full council meeting which day is likely to be the major event over our weekend?
From what you said, Saturday doesn't look
I think
right.
Saturday is
looks
going
the
to
most.
look, because
Yeah.
we're going to have to do something with the beacon, because we have got the beacon, so we will be invited to do that. So that's going to be a smaller little entity, but that doesn't mean to say that we can't do something on the, or encourage other groups to do something on the Friday and on the Sunday, and definitely encouraging people to have their street parties on the Sunday. Whether we, give out a pack of bunting or whatever, or different things, or flags or bits and pieces as their pack, if they register with us, I don't know, but we can look at different things.
Are main government offering any money?
I was going to say.
Are they throwing money down?
Not that we're
They're not at the
aware of
moment.
yet.
It might be worth keeping an eye out if there is any
Yeah.
funding for local government to do
Yeah.
That
things.
is,
They might chuck
that,
some
that
dollar
is
this way.
where Tracy Carter will come in useful, because I can't remember what it was for, but there was funding given out to the government, from the government, to county and districts, and that was supposed to be parcelled out to smaller groups, and nothing was said. And I called our district county councillor up on it, and he told me, says, I don't know anything about it. I said, sorry, I should have printed it off for you, because South Holland had money, but nobody got to know about it.
I think we just need to keep an eye on
Yeah,
it.
keep an
If
eye
there
on
are
it,
things
and
out
it's-
there, then we just need to be aware of it.
And wouldn't that normally be when Nick Worth's Food Festival would be that weekend?
No, it's the beginning of
July.
July, he normally does. I have contacted
Do you think
him.
he would think about moving it to that weekend?
He's still debating what he's doing, but I am in contact with him.
Yeah, because I think that would be nice as a natural event anyway,
Yeah.
that's already got a following to have offer that.
I think we need,
Even if you had that on the Friday.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose you might do it.
I think at the minute he's still in negotiation with various things to try and work out when's the best to do it next year.
Right, because the other issue is obviously with vendors, food vendors, drink
Yeah.
and
We
music,
need to get things booked.
everybody's going to be booking,
Yeah.
and we don't want to be,
So that's
That's
why
at
I
the
would
door.
like to agree on the date
yeah,
that we're aiming for at full council, so that we can actually then start approaching
yeah, we
people,
need to do
because
it,
if
yeah.
we don't, we're going to...
there's going to be no event because everybody's going to look up.
Yeah,
I think your idea of the Saturday's the best day, to be honest. I can't see why it wouldn't
no,
work.
you do want to say?
No, it's all right.
You sure?
Yeah.
Sure it will.
Okay. So we'll do a quick bit of research, and we'll send an email around the committee before the meeting, and if we show what's actually planned for nationally, and then we can agree what we're
I
saying.
was just wondering whether we could approach the football club. They're not playing football on the pitch that time of the year. Whether we could maybe utilise that area as well.
Well, I'm sure they'd want to be involved in some way, shape or form anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all the groups. I think once we've agreed the date, we need to put a shout out to
Yeah, straight
everybody.
away.
Either contact via email or letter or whatever, and say we are arranging this event on this date. If you want to be involved in any way, shape or form, please come back to
I'm
us.
just thinking it would be a nice extension to
Yeah.
parks as well.
Yes,
Well,
no.
we-
That's it.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, right.
As well, like you say about everybody emailing the groups,
Yeah.
depending on the situation in the future, is
Mhm.
look at trying to get an area where we can invite a representative from the group,
Yeah.
talk to them what we want, they want,
Feedback,
and then we
exactly
can,
that,
like you
yeah.
say, gather
I think
information,
that's the thing.
do it.
From,
Towards the
once we've
date.
got the date
Yeah.
organised, then once we've gauged who wants to get involved, then we need to arrange a meeting and invite everybody to
Yeah.
that meeting and just thrash out exactly what we're going to do,
Do.
who's going to go away and do what, and just, because we can't do it all on our own.
No.
Right,
It's
come on.
impossible.
That's definite.
So it needs to be a community-led event rather than just us.
We want it on the 9th of August.
Yes, please, to agree that,
Agree with the
date.
date for the
Yeah.
Jubilee
Yeah,
celebration.
please.
And I'll
I mean,
Yeah, I think
driving
so.
through, I was looking to see which shops had got the flag.
Not
They
many.
used to put Christmas trees up
Yeah,
one
it's
time.
not many.
I mean, the fitments.
Eh?
The fitments.
But we
Yeah,
can
you've got
utilise,
the
as long as
Yeah.
we've got bunting, we can utilise fitments that are already there and
Yeah.
stretch it along.
Yeah.
It's fairly easy to do, but we are going to need
Which
more
you can
bunting.
do that. 'Cause the
But you
Christ-
could go between the
Christmas
hanging
stuff
basket
is there.
fixings,
Yeah,
couldn't you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
the
they're,
the
that
lamp
bit,
posts.
yeah.
business.
The Christmas fittings are still be left up
Mhm.
all the way around.
Right,
Hopefully.
okay, so I think we've done that as much as we can. So item 32, update on the yard sale and agree final details. As of today, we have now got 22 that are registered, and the WI Hall are going to do a tabletop sale on the same day, and they're going to be providing refreshments. So that's sort of going to placate our issue of, are we going to have something going on in the park? If we plug the fact that there's refreshments available, that the WI will be a natural stop-off point for people as they're going around, hopefully. And we can also plug the other vendors that are open on that day that will be giving food or
Mhm.
yes.
We've had a request on Facebook about putting posters up, because obviously up until now we've just been Facebook, which I thought what we could probably do is if we could get a statement out in the press advertising it this next week, and also put posters up around town
Yeah.
for the event. And then the idea would be that we would give a pack to each house taking part, so they can have a number corresponding to the map, and then also a set of probably like 5 maps that they can then give out to the next one. So
That's
then if
how I
people
do
are just
it.
coming about, they can just, and then especially WI Hall, if they had a pack of stuff as well, then they can hand out to people who may not know what's going on.
Can I just say, the reason why when I run the yard sales at Fleet, is we get people to register, and we've got a project. It's helping to redevelop the park, and the money that we raise with the registration is ring fence, and that's to pay for additional seating in the park. They don't pay for the maps, but we do have a disc with a number on that they display that shows that they're registered, and we mark that on the map. It has been in the past that I have caught a couple of people out that, oh, I didn't know anything about it, so I thought I'd do a yard sale, but they're pricking off and going indoors and handing me the £10. So they knew, but they thought they'd something. And I just wondered if you hadn't got a project yourself, if you could do that and maybe raise money for a certain charity. You know, something.
Yeah, we haven't done it this time, but I mean,
Next time, possibly.
no, I think the thing is with this whole year, we will trial all the different events. Everything will be free because everybody's had such a terrible year with COVID. Just provide something for the public, and then next year, if we want to rerun them,
Yeah,
but
then
we
can
feel
start.
that it's viable to charge us, a nominal fee
Yeah.
for things, then we
Yeah,
can do
because
that to
I
raise
mean,
a bit of money.
it's a good PR exercise, but it's an opportunity missed, because especially after COVID, the likes of the air ambulance, everybody can benefit from that, and they're lost an awful lot of funding, have had to close all their shops. So if you were having a yard sale and the money from that generated and handed to someone like that, or
I think, it's something to look at for the future. Several of the people are already running it for their own particular charity that they're wishing to give to. I do, for me, it's not about raising money this time around. It is about getting people to engage with us.
Yeah, it's doing
Because,
isn't
you
it?
know, we have had a difficult year, everybody's had a difficult year, and to show that we are forward facing, we want to engage with the public, we want to be part of making the town better is the most important thing that we can do with all of these events this time.
Togetherness.
Yes, once we've done that, then moving on into next year, we can look at, well, this event could raise us some funds for this, and that event could raise us some funds for that.
Yeah.
But this particular year, I do
Well,
feel
it's
there's very
also
much-
the parish council giving back for the precept that we charge anyway, isn't
Yeah.
it? So it's certainly nothing negative.
So like I say, I think it's not about us getting any money at all.
No.
It's about everybody enjoying it, coming to the community. And if we do an event, and like it was mentioned before, I saw it on one of the Facebook things, that we missed out about the buckets.
Yes.
Maybe having a bucket.
Yeah.
Donations,
And turn around and if people want to give,
Yeah.
it's up to them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to give us this to become part of this,
Yeah.
because you're going to turn people down, alienate people that don't have the money, but still want to be part of the community.
And that's not what we're here.
No.
Two things with you, so because this is what I thought about last time. I should have brought it up
Right.
last meeting, but it's a bit late. But when I did my one, but I was lazy, so I didn't do it. I thought to get people to go to all the houses, what you do is you stick a letter on there, and they've got to collect all the letters and rearrange the anagram, and then you can only do it by going to all the houses, and then
I
somebody
can
gets the
easily do
prize.
that.
So you could do any sentence, 22 letters, and then that makes people go to all the houses.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it, I forgot about it,
Well,
so I left it too late.
I'll
So
need
this
to
one might be
letter
quite
them.
easily to do.
Yeah, because I'll have to letter them anyway, so you can find them on the map.
Yeah, so
So then their letters could be that once you go round and then you can,
no,
yeah, you've got
you've
to
got
find
something
them,
different.
haven't
You've got to find. It's something to do with finding. So if you don't go to all the houses, you cannot complete it, and then at the end there's a little prize if you draw it out of the hat as bottom ones. And the other one is probably for the next one. Is it too late? I looked at the Guinness Book of Records. There isn't a record for most houses at a yard sale. And I looked into it, and you can do it where you can apply for them to do, and it could be a Guinness Book of Records for Holbeach as a person, not as an entity, not as a. I think that's quite a nice idea if this one is successful to consider that. But yeah, the prize thing, because then you get more people who are not just picking and choosing, they're going, oh, I'll get something out of this,
Yeah.
and I'll go to all the houses.
Good idea. I'll look at that. So everything's ready to go on that. We just obviously we were expecting that we'll still get a few more. So we won't be issuing the maps until
No.
right at the very last minute.
Have you done your cut-off?
it will probably be Friday, because that's the day we'll probably have to print the maps off. And then we can deliver it round to all the different houses
that
on
the Friday?
Saturday.
Off just before.
So you're giving it a day cut-off?
Yeah, well, we can do, if we said Thursday, if we cut-off point is Thursday, 5 PM Thursday,
Yeah.
get them all printed off on the Friday, delivered on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely, lovely.
that's, yeah, because then you always get food stragglers at the
Yeah.
end, don't you, or people pull out at the end, or, so
Yeah.
it just gives you a little bit of leeway. So we'll get press out, press release out on that
This week.
pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Get the posters done, and we'll get those out this week. So that's
Lovely.
all organised. Update on Remembrance Parade. I think you have pretty much got your road.
Yeah, the road, not closure, but whatever it is called,
Yeah.
is all done and submitted, and I had a response from LCC to say brilliant, it's all fine. I guess you just wait for them to issue whatever. There's a training day, I believe, on the 20th of October, or training half day, for Royal British Legion Parade training, LCC and the police to do with traffic management, etc. Volunteers to go on it.
What day is that,
It's
please?
Saturday.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, Saturday morning at Horncastle, I think.
I'll do it if it's.
Yeah.
So I just have to look at my
Next
connections
to the
first.
football, no?
Yeah.
Follow.
Road management training.
Done
I'm happy to go as well if need be. So, I mean, as long as we've
I'll
got
pop
enough
along
of
as
us
well.
that if somebody drops out, then
Yeah.
somebody else takes the
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, there's no limit.
Yeah, I'll-
Yeah.
obviously.
So I think that's as far as we need to go with that at the moment. Obviously letters and stuff like that will go out in due course.
September.
Yeah, because obviously schools are not back yet or anything like that, so therefore there's no point sending a letter out to people like that yet because you're not going to get any response anyhow. So that's ongoing. So I don't think there's much more that we need to report on that one unless anybody's got anything else. No. Okay, so item 34, to discuss and agree an event for September. Anybody got any ideas of what they would like to do? Something simple?
Okay.
It's not going to take a lot of organising.
What about a sports day?
A good idea. I think it's going to take quite a bit of organising there.
Yeah.
The only problem you would have with the sport, because you'd want to get the schools involved, and they'll be back at school. I don't know whether that's better or worse, but I presume probably worse.
I think it's a nice idea, but
Yeah.
in reality, what is the event? Is it schools doing a joint
Everybody,
sport?
family.
Family.
So like say you had your old sack races, three-legged races, you know what I mean? But you're still going to have, or you, like say again, if you could get some music there, you've still got your food, your vendors and everything, but you've got a family atmosphere again, and you're just utilising Cars Park.
Yeah.
So alright, you've got your events there, and there's companies around and people that do the sports events, you know, like say Royals Gym again, maybe get them involved, that's to see what they could do a little bit of something, an event. Another like Hobbits United, get them involved, the football side of it, you know, just shooting or whatever, or even if you've got a couple of teams, junior five-a-side, or something like that, and just, you know, I don't know, just, like I say again, it's an idea.
We would have to, because the food festival is the 4th and 5th, isn't it?
Oh, that's why it was discussed that it wasn't
Yeah.
going to be a massive event in
Yeah.
September because we've already got the food festival.
So if you were
first,
going to do it, it'd be either mid to late,
and then your
which is
weather.
going a bit,
Then your weather's changing into.
yeah.
I think it's time to bring the quiz in. Quizmaster John. It's a really easy event to set up. I like the sports day, but I think the sports day's got to be July, August time.
I think the sports day could be incorporated into your Jubilee celebration.
Yeah, a really good way of getting the kids and the
That would be
families
a
in
really
Cars
good
Park.
thing to
Yeah,
bring everything together.
yeah, I think that'd be. I really do like the idea.
It's just got to be smack bang in the middle of summer, isn't it, really?
You really to get well. I mean, you never know whether the weather's going to be any good in this country, do you?
Treasure trail,
Yeah, yeah,
that involves grown-ups and family.
yeah. What, a driving one or a walking one?
Yeah, walking one,
So around the town centre?
yeah.
So you could incorporate shops into that somehow and-
Yeah.
and
We
probably
could
things
do
that you
where they could put something in their window,
Yeah.
a missing word to a, I've done in the past where you've got a picture of a flower and it's got a saying, and you miss out one of the words and they've got to try and fill in the word, missing word.
Or
If you keep it on the high street.
could we?
Yeah, High Street, well, you've got,
Or near enough.
You could go off the high street a little bit, but I was just wondering whether we could incorporate that into the Halloween
That's a good idea.
event.
Yeah.
Just
That's a good
thinking
point.
about September, I mean, you can either do a quiz and that'd be a separate one, or if you wanted to do a small thing, could you just do something additional to the food festival? So have it on the same day, but another area of Cars Park, or if you were going to, I don't know, because you don't want to. Like a treasure trail's good, but it'd be better if it was incorporated into a larger event because some people will just do it and then it won't really get too far. So how?
I think because we're doing the yard sale, which is quite individual, isn't it? That if you were to offer something that yet again brought people together, because that's what that event, the car show, showed me, is that people want to be together. We're doing the yard sales, and then you do something yet again that allows people to meet up. But then September the kids are back at school, so things are a little bit more difficult. And we haven't got any money, so we can't create a big event.
Do you plan for a bigger event for Halloween?
I like the idea of the treasure trail and the scarecrows and things like
Yeah,
that.
so make it a bit more.
Make that all a nice event in October.
Because then there's not much going on at that time of year, really.
No.
So maybe focus your efforts to that a bit more and try and do a bit of a
And
bring people together again.
Yeah, and you could make that event more of a town-centric thing where the shops stay open, late night shopping, and try and turn that into something.
We want them all to decorate the windows anyhow, so you could then create your treasure trail around the windows and also other things that they need to find in other areas of the town. So it takes people in areas that they wouldn't necessarily go into, maybe. I think that the two could work quite nicely together.
Yeah, I think the two would work to me, so, I mean, October, might be better because you've got the shops decorating and you put the treasure trail in with it.
So we still need something.
And then, I know you were keen on having a quiz night.
Well, I like quiz nights, but it does reduce the amount of people that can come to it because we don't have a venue big enough to get loads and loads of people.
Yeah, I mean, you've got you can't use the community centre, but possibly the WI.
Or you could use the football club.
Why can't you use community centre?
Booked up all the time.
A lot of the time it is. It depends what day. In the week, it's pretty much booked out every evening. It depends on when you were thinking of.
Well, if you get it in the community centre, then that's a really good event, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bring your own
Would
beer.
you have? Is there enough of a following for? Would you fill it?
What quizzes? From my experience around here, they're very, very popular. I'd have been interested to know how many went to the Red Lion one, because that was on Wednesday, and I wasn't here. But yeah, I mean, there is a large following for quizzes. If you want the competitive quizzes.
Again, I think it's a good idea, but we're just looking at one sector.
Yeah,
People like quizzes, I think.
and that's the difficulty with it.
Yeah. I think maybe, do we skip September and just support the food festival by, being around and maybe doing a little bit of ourselves, doing something for ourselves, maybe that's somewhere that you could raise a bit of money for one of our projects that we're wanting to do. If we talk with Nick and say, is there a way that we could do some form of stall or whatever and do something at that, potentially.
I think
So
like I
you've
said,
got your face
incorporate
out
into it,
there.
yeah.
It's something with, even if you're doing a little bit of finding out whether the projects that we are planning are things that people want. So you have a store with the pictures of what we're thinking.
Yeah, just a bit of that's what we did
A bit
at the
of
last
yarn.
one. Yeah. At the last food festival, it was me and Stephen, wasn't it? And a few other councillors that went round talking to people and seeing if they wanted to join us and blah, blah, blah. But if we've got key projects again that we're doing, then we can kind of consult on stuff. And
There was a tombola store which Graham and Carol manned.
yeah.
If we had something like that with maybe a children's painting that we could hand out to
Face
them.
paint.
Sorry?
Face paint.
Face paint, yeah.
I think we haven't got long before it's on. We're unfortunately not around that weekend, we're away. So it's as to whether we've got enough people that would be willing to do something.
I'm not here on the Sunday. I've got granddaughter's christening on that Sunday,
So should we
Maybe ask the full
ask the full council whether
Yeah.
there would be enough people that would be available to do some
And then
sort
talk
of
with Nick Worth
consultation
and
with?
see.
Well, really the full council's got to be asked that the manpower for the food festival.
Yeah. Well, I don't know because we don't tend to get involved
They
in
have
that.
their own
because They do
stewards.
their own.
It's their own thing. isn't it?
But we could be involved in
Something.
a way
Yeah.
that is not intrusive on what they're doing, but we're there and we're a
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah.
Which
Because
we have
otherwise
done
it's the
before.
same old
Yes,
councils.
exactly, yeah.
And the others are sitting back and going,
Yeah. We need to have a bit of a road, if it's going to work, you need to have a rota, and whatever we decided to do, whether it's a fundraise or whether it is just purely about consultation about this is what we're thinking about doing, what do you think? I think it's an opportunity to engage with more people again.
Yeah.
If we did that.
I
Even
think
if you had a survey
Yeah,
on a school,
anything, yes.
so that they can,
Simple, something simple, that you've just got 2 members of the council on at any one time, you rotate, so nobody's doing a full day, just turn up, do your thing, go home.
so we can have a look
Yeah.
next year
Yeah,
for something big,
Yeah.
special,
yes,
what we can, everybody wants.
Yeah.
Let's, like I said, let's still get involved,
yeah,
Yeah.
as long as the council agrees with that, we're still
yeah.
present.
So we propose that then, that instead of running an event, we actually try and do some public engagement at the food festival.
And then next meeting, are we going to start doing the October one and try and make that a bit more of a
Yeah.
bigger thing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we could look at you potentially doing some quiz and things through the winter months maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so item 35, items for discussion and agenda items request. So we will need definitely, we need to look at the Halloween one for next meeting.
Yeah.
And then it'll just be updates on the parade.
and Halloween one for October.
Yeah, and then we will need to decide on what we're going to do with the Jubilee and how we're going to coordinate that really.
Do you want a, sorry, do you want
Do-
a full
do-
council agenda item to organise a public meeting for the Jubilee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And then do you want a debrief on the yard sale as well for the next events agenda? Same, so we just do a debrief after each one,
Yeah.
see what went well, what went, could have been improved.
Is it something that we need to look at as well regarding, like I said, the health and safety side? This is the last event, we only had tournament and first aid.
Yeah, we do need to.
So-
We need to get councillors first aid trained as well, really.
So does that need to come into that agenda or?
Um,
Doing 28th of September.
Yeah, you
are.
Yeah.
But I think we need, I mean, obviously we have got some budget for training now, haven't we?
Yeah,
Mm.
there
now
any-
do the first
are there
aid
any-
training.
Spaces for that one.
I think the 28th is full, but there is another date in
Okay, so if we can get some members, some people that are interested in doing the first aid training, definitely. There is online training available for safeguarding, basic safeguarding,
I've
isn't
done
it?
it.
Which
But
would be useful.
Yeah. But LAUC do our full day first aid course.
So
that'd be
definitely,
really
we could
wonderful.
do with at least 2 councillors, if not more, for first aid
A
training.
one-day training course would be appointed persons.
Yeah,
Mm.
So I'm first aid qualified, but I don't know if it's still there.
I think you're on the edge.
Right.
I think.
That's,
Because,
you did that here.
Off a little bit, but on the 4th of August, there is a training day for emergency
planning.
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend because I'll be in London.
yeah, well, that should have
But,
come up on
yeah.
our planning meeting.
That's
but
being
we
held in
shouldn't
Lincoln.
have. So, yeah, well, somebody ought to be attending, but as we didn't have a planning meeting, then unfortunately we've got nobody nominated to go to that. So, but yes, I think we need to look into definitely training for first aid and potentially some safeguarding training as well for members.
There's still spaces, it's a chargeable one, but
Right.
Mhm.
yeah, 28th September, but done
Don't know, yeah.
9:30 to 4:30. So does anybody want to do that? So I
Okay.
can book it now.
28th. What day is that? What day is that? Please.
Yeah, I'll do that one.
28th is,
Huh?
Tuesday, 28th September, you said?
Mm.
I'll have to have a look at what time I can get on work.
if not, we can pop you down for another one, you know, a date that is more convenient for you down if.
Yeah, because there was another one in October, wasn't there, as
So
well?
did you would like to go on the first aid training?
I can't do first aid anymore, although I used to be a
Right,
trainer,
okay,
but
right,
I can't do it anymore.
right,
Right. I mean, as Chair of Health and Safety, I'd be happy to do it. Would be sensible.
Yeah, it would.
Then at least I know what.
I've got the safety awareness, but I'd like to do the safety awareness specialised with children.
Right, okay. So if we can look into where that is available. Is
Yeah,
that,
I'll look at,
How can you
I
find
should be
it?
able to do it for free, like I did the other ones.
okay, can you look into it for us then?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is it about £50 for the 4 day ones or something like that?
Because we've still got our budget for training for counsellors
Yeah.
ongoing, haven't we? We're not gone too far into that. So if we can also ask, if I ask in my events bid as to whether there are any other counsellors that would like to be booked into that, so we can get them booked in.
How
soon
many
as.
would we say maximum? Because it is a full day, I can't remember how much the full day ones
I
are.
think,
yes.
I think 2 for this one,
Yeah.
potentially.
Right.
And then
then
down
the
the
next
fin
one,
for
yeah.
another one.
Yeah, I'll put you in.
I can
I'll
tell
just
you
have a
how
look
to do
at
it.
holidays and
I
everything.
think
Yeah.
you are still potentially current at the minute.
So, yeah, I did one
Because I think you
this
did it at the same
Three
time as
years
Lou.
Still got it on here,
I
so,
think you and Lou did it together.
Yeah.
Okay,
are
so
you going to do this as well, or just Sophie?
I'll send Sophie in a minute. I don't do sympathy, I don't do nice stuff. So I don't think I'll be the best first aider.
I don't do blood and gore.
Lucas are on it.
I know, I've time
Very,
with
very good.
That's fine on that.
I don't want to spoil it.
I'm sure they're probably, I mean, some of the new councillors might want to get involved in doing
Yeah.
that, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's a good, another good way of somebody else getting involved, isn't it? Okay, anything else for either full council agenda or our next agenda that anybody wants to pop on?
I think when it comes to the Queen's Jubilee, you're going to have to look into finance.
Yeah.
I.e. either from the government, county council, or even the vendors
Yeah.
paying
Okay,
for the
yes,
privilege.
exactly. I think what we need to do,
Yeah,
we need to budget for our basic costs for that,
Yeah.
but then we need to make it work.
See, they used to pay so much per stall, didn't they?
Yes,
I remember that.
yes,
Yeah.
for the Christmas.
It's a question
sales.
of what you can beg, steal and borrow.
Could I'd quite like to investigate, we discussed it slightly, Jan, about the French twin town
Oh, yes,
coming
definitely,
down and
yes.
possibly doing a farmer's market with them, continental
yeah.
market or something like that, so we could stick that on as a discussion.
Yes, you could.
That
I know who you need to contact on that.
Yeah.
as well.
I know Tracy Carter, because she put out a post on Facebook, didn't she? But she's looking into the possibility of bringing back a market on a Saturday.
Is she?
And then she has done a post saying about for a farmer's market who would be interested. So if she gets one up and running and has got some stall holders, then we can talk to her about
Yeah,
who's there and then try and arrange a...
because there is an
Big
events company up north who did the Boston farmer's market.
Mm.
I contacted them and they never got back in touch with them, but they seem to know what they're doing.
Mhm.
And
You
obviously
need a company.
It's not easy to create, even though we're a farmers area, it's not easy to create a farmer's market. But I like them because Spalding did it a few years ago, didn't they, where they got
Yeah,
their
they
twin town and they did the continental
Oh,
market.
really?
Because we are actually, the area is twinned with France and Germany.
Is it?
Mhm.
I think it'd be interesting to try and embrace our European brothers. So it could be something to discuss and look into.
Yes, then.
And also, I know Spalding have gone away from it now, and everybody still talks about it, but a flower parade,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
some description. These, I say you've got so many bulk
Yeah.
growers still around here,
Yeah.
something we could maybe look into for the future.
Maybe it's something that we could start to think about as our annual, not anything like they did in Spalding.
No, you
but
never get that
could-
close,
You
but-
could do
As a bit of an
something
annual summer fete flower parade type
work
thing.
on that.
Yeah.
For maybe, obviously not next year, because that'd be all about the Jubilee, but then moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Creating
event
it.
to organise
Yeah.
things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if that's it for everybody, the date of the next meeting.
It needs to be just after the yard sale, doesn't it, really?
So 15th is the yard sale.
Yeah. We would be okay. The week, I mean, immediately after or early part of the next week, but not towards the end of that week. So anywhere the week beginning
16th.
16th or very early the following week. Days suit people best. You'll still be off, won't you? Dan, you'll be working, won't you?
I'll be
So
working,
is it
so
5 o'clock good for you?
It'd have to be 6.
6, okay.
Because if
That's
I'm
fine.
late,
That's
then
fine.
it's what I get back.
That's fine.
I
So,
think it's better on a Friday evening rather
you're happy
than
with the Friday?
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Because
Is
otherwise
a
it
Friday a
breaks
good
in.
day or do you want a different day?
Friday at 6 would be fine. At least that way it's not breaking into anybody's weekend.
Or what?
You're not keen on
You
that.
know,
Fridays are changing now, so things have changed. So
Okay.
things have changed. I'll have to massage things around. So I'll go with the flow.
Okay. Well,
go for it.
I'm happy with the Friday if everybody else is, so the
20th.
20th.
Sorry, Isabel, what's that date?
What's the date?
20th of August.
20th of August.
I'll be in
6
Nottingham.
p.m. If you find, you know, that you're not likely to be available, if we can
Yeah. Oh, no.
know in advance so that we can reschedule it before it actually has to go out for agendas.
Yeah,
I might
That'd be
be,
useful.
I might be travelling to Nottingham that night.
Okay, well,
I'll
we'll
let you
just-
know.
So before the 16th, because
Yeah,
the agenda
ideally.
will come out on the 16th.
Yeah,
What
so
time
I could
now?
have agenda items by Friday the 13th, any additional
It's at
ones.
6 o'clock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, agenda items by midday, 13th.
So if by that stage people are thinking, no, we're not going to be able to make that date, if we can then
And we
reschedule
talked
it.
about that this afternoon.
Okay, so if that's everything, we will close the meeting at 6 o'clock.
Thank you very much.